Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It is your Cape Crusader Cody, and we are keeping it geekly with our brand new friend JL Meredith of Guardian Into the Light of Day. This is going to be our first official interview breaking down a book, and I am so excited to do so. JL, welcome to the stream. How are you doing tonight?
I am great. Thank you for having me on, Cody.
Absolutely, absolutely. So first things first, what drove you to write a book? What was some of your inspirations and I guess early steps that led you to this day and age?
Well, Guardian is a very old character. She's been kicking around my head since the mid-'80s.
Mm-hmm.
1986, I was making the big money at Burger King, flipping hamburgers, and I could afford to buy subscriptions to comic books, and I was also into role-playing games at the time, and still am a little bit, but at the time I bought a couple of superhero role-playing games. My friends were more into Dungeons and Dragons, which is very popular right now, but I had these two superhero games that I wanted to play with, and they were not so much into it, so I just started making characters, lots of characters, like 30 or 40 characters. But this one is one of the ones that really stuck with me. Mm-hmm. And she just would not stop talking to me. So I finally sat down and wrote her story. It was quite a Nantucket sleigh ride as far as once she started talking, she wouldn't stop. So I just let her fly me around the world, which she actually did in the novel.
And it was like I had the opportunity to read roughly about 50 pages. Thank you for sending me that PDF of the book. I really appreciate it. And I was really taken back because I've never really read a lot of, I guess, superhero styled books and novels. I'm more of along the lines of a comic reading guy, and so I really thought the way you took a superhero and broke it down in a novel was really awesome, and it was a different, it was like a breath of fresh air for me. I'm really curious what went into your creative process when creating this character and constructing this book.
Well, it started out as 10 to 12 pages of just very rough notes of things I wanted to see happen and characters I wanted to put into the novel, and it went from there. I'm more of a pantser in artist speak or author speak. That means you just write by the seat of your pants. You don't. Some artists or authors will plan out everything. Every chapter, they know exactly what's going to happen in every chapter, what's going to prompt the next chapter, but I just let the characters lead me to where they wanted to go, and sometimes they led me into corners, and I had to figure out how to get out of those corners. The idea of being painted into a corner is a real thing for a pantser, so I had to get really creative at times. But she just took me on a ride across the world, and it turned out all right, I guess.
Yeah, it sounds like being a pantser is like kind of a catch-22, but in that same aspect, as much as it could be troublesome writing yourself into a corner, it seems like it really helps get the creative juices flowing when you're not stuck in that corner.
Yes, I respect other authors that can just outline everything and they know everything that's going to happen from chapter to chapter, but I like to let the characters start talking and start doing, and just let them lead me to where they're going.
Speaking of Guardian, we have Guardian Andrew over on YouTube. That's one of my friends from Twitch stopping in. How are you doing, Andrew? Welcome to the stream. So what would go into writing a novel that most people don't consider readily? I know this is kind of my first time really breaking a book or a novel down, so I'm curious myself, like what goes into this, because writing a comic, you traditionally have 22, 24 pages, and then at the most a script, you're looking at speech bubbles, but with a book, you have to paint the panels with your words, so it just seems like there goes so much more into creating that storyline.
Yes, you have to be good at so many different things. Half of writing a book is marketing it, and the other half of it is writing it. And the writing of it, you have to get your dialogue done well, and you have to get your descriptions done well, and your story structures. Some people may recall from English class the classic rising and falling action, or the hero's journey, which I did with part of this book. The hero's journey is part of this book. a fellow I studied quite closely is a fellow named Swain. He wrote a book called "Selling for the Author,"
Mm-hmm.
and basically there's a disaster in one chapter and a reaction and a dilemma and decision in the next chapter. And I just worked through that as far as making the novel exciting and a page turner. I wanted people to be excited when they sat down and read it and couldn't put it down, and that's what I was aiming for, and I've heard that from enough readers that I think I accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking earlier before the stream. I had a hard time wanting to stop to double check the StreamYard just to make sure I was on time with everything. It was a really good read. It really sucked me in within even just the first 50 pages. And it's how long is it? I seen something roughly around 500 pages. Is that accurate, or is it longer?
It's about 512 pages. The first 3 pages are a prologue, and then we're off into the story of the week. The novel takes place over 1 week, so it's quite compact in terms of that time.
Were there any? Go ahead.
For an 800-year-old character, it's quite an exciting week for her.
Yeah, and Elizabeth is a really interesting character at that. Not only is she able to fly, and it appears that she's invincible to a certain degree. That's yet to be determined. I haven't read the entire book, but not only that, but she's able to talk, in different languages. She's able to talk to dogs. She's like a medic. It seems like there's little that she can't do. Can you give us a little bit more about Elizabeth and kind of some of your inspirations that went into creating this character?
I've been really fortunate in my life to know some really kind and decent people throughout my life, so they certainly influenced her as far as the character goes. The omnilingual part of it, where she can talk to dogs and talk in different languages, she's a galactic entity, so being able to talk to different species is just par for the course. So the humanity would be easy to master compared to some other planet's language. Does that help as far as giving some insight?
No, I love it. And, what were some of the influences for you? I mean, is it too far-fetched to say maybe Superman at some point was some inspiration?
Oh, every superhero is
fair enough.
I've read. I mean, I'm a Batman fan, I'm a Wonder Woman fan, I'm a Superman fan, I'm a Captain Marvel fan. I mean, yes, they all play upon it. There's nothing new under the sun as far as tropes go. But yes, the hopeful outlook of those characters, as well as others, definitely influenced her. But one of the reasons why I wrote this book was just not only was she still talking to me after all these years, but I wasn't seeing the book that I wanted to read out there on the shelves. So they say if there's a book you want to read and it's not been written, then that's up to you. You've got to write it yourself. So, and that's what I did.
Absolutely. So was it challenging to come out the gate and write a 512 novel out the rip, or were there any small projects that you did previously?
I've written. I started writing in grade 4. That's the first story I can remember. It was a story about a dragon attacking a city in 2 nights. Me and my best friend at the time, I wrote us into a story. It was an English assignment, and that was the first one I can remember. But in high school, I wrote a lot of fantasy type Dungeons and Dragons type novels because I was into that. I continued on until about university, second year, and I was writing so many papers in school that it just beat the writer out of me. But it's something I've always really enjoyed. When I was in high school, they would send me to writers' workshops, and silly me, I didn't take the hint that maybe you should go get a creative writing degree. I went off and got political science and psychology degrees, which I worked in both fields, and you can see that in the novel later on.
Yeah.
As you write what you know in part. One of the villains in the book is the leader of the American Senate. He's the leader of the majority party.
Okay.
And he and Guardian have a history going back 40 years. They haven't seen each other in quite a long time, but she gave him the brush off because she discovered that he was married.
Well, she seems to be pretty like resilient to advancements. Even in the first couple of pages, she was getting hit on left and right, and it seems like she's just brushing it off because she doesn't want to, be involved with any of that.
Well, part of it is she likes the character that's putting the moves on her, but he's got marriage in mind, and she's got I can't become involved with a man for that amount of time because she's not going to age and he is going to age. So it's just easier to have the thrust and parry and enjoy the flirtation and the banter without actually getting into it romantically with it. Yeah.
So you said this book takes place over 7 days. Were there any like trials and tribulations trying to fit, what you wanted to write in that time period?
I had to sit down and actually write down every page, or rather every day, what events were going to happen and knit it all together because it had to make sense. And for the big bad to appear later in the novel after this asteroid appears, spoiler alert.
I'm right there then.
It had to be compact. She had to start figuring out what happened and why, and try and figure out what was behind it all. And lo and behold, here comes the big bad to let her know that, I'm behind it, and you're my target. So yeah, it was. Go ahead.
So with this already out and like produced, are you looking at like expanding any of the universe that you have created right now with Elizabeth and Guardian?
Oh yes, I've got a rogues gallery already in mind, and I've been working on the last couple of days. I've been working on two big bads to confront her in this upcoming novella, and I've got another half dozen bad guys in the queue as far as future projects. So
wow,
yeah.
So I know earlier you were saying I think you said you can write about 2,000 words a day, if I'm not mistaken.
On a first draft, I can even go better than that, but it's the rewrites when you're fine tuning things. Originally, this book before it went to my editor was 194,000 words. Now it's 135,000 words.
So what are some of the things that you do to kind of eliminate those words that you feel are a little bit unnecessary?
Part of it is cutting full chapters and just putting in like a couple of sentences to account for that detail, or in some cases I just amalgamated characters or cut characters. There's a character later on in the novel that was originally two people and is now one person. So that's the kind of thing that had to occur, because I was not going to even attempt to put out a 194,000 word novel. I'm not Tolkien, or I'm not writing the Game of Thrones here. So yeah.
So I also noticed you actually won an award for this book as well. Can you give us a little bit of insight on that?
The Reader's Choice Award, it was well received by the critics and reviewers over there, and they awarded a 5-star rating as far as its quality and its enjoyment. And I'm in the year. What do you call it? The year contest for them. Hopefully, I place within it. There's five placements as far as the genre, and we'll know in September 1st whether they thought my novel was worthy of one of their rankings as a top novel for the year. Yeah.
No, that is so awesome. Is there any like special perks or anything that come with winning that?
Well, you get to put a nice medal on the front of your book. And there's some prizes that go with it, like some editing services, things that a writer would find useful. A cover artist may do a feature novel for you, things like that. There might even be some cash for the top winners. I know Jim Carrey, one of my countrymen, has won the gold medal from them for one of his books. So yeah, it's fairly prestigious, and if I'm hoping to win a piece, but we'll see. We'll see how they think.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So when writing a novel or novella, you seem like you just executed this so well. What are some of the things you could do to really, make that dialogue stick out and really just hit the mark?
I studied with Aaron Sorkin. I took one of his courses. Aaron Sorkin wrote The West Wing. He wrote A Few Good Men.
Wow.
So I spent some time studying with him, and then I spent a great deal of time studying just great dialogue writers like Aaron Sorkin or Elmore Leonard. These are some of the go-tos if you really want to do dialogue well. Was it William Goldblum? Was it Goldblum or Goldman who wrote the Princess Bride novel?
Your guess is probably way better than mine.
But The Princess Bride was written in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid was written by Aaron Sorkin's mentor. So yeah, you go to the best and you hope that some of it rubs off in your practice of writing, and it's a lot of practice. That's like anything else, whether you're shooting free throws or playing the piano, it's a lot of practice.
Absolutely. And I think when working with especially words and thousands of them, let alone hundreds of thousands of them, it's one of those things where practice, you definitely get a lot of it. What are, and on that subject, what are some of the biggest things you think is done wrong when writing a novel or novella? Like some of the, the common failures that happens, whether it's trying to pack in too much story or crappy dialogue. I guess you're the biggest ones that you often find.
I've read books that were fantastic in terms of description and had terrible dialogue, and I've read the opposite. I've read books that the dialogue was amazing, but you didn't really know what was happening because the writer just assumed that you could see what they could see. So you have to be the eyes and ears and all the senses of your reader, and you also have to be entertaining in that description. Make it as succinct as possible, at the same time interesting. Really capture the moment and help the reader visualize what you're trying to express. You'll always fall short of your reader's imagination, but you try and give them like a gestalt, the framework, and let them fill in the blanks as far as whatever it is, wherever they are, whether you're in an office or you're in a burning building or whether you're out on the ocean. We've all, because of the internet and movies, etc., we've all experienced different scenarios as well as our own life experience. But trying to bring that to life as an author is a big part of it. Another thing is just having good story structure, that it follows a logical path. We know subconsciously what should come next, and when it doesn't, it grates on us. So having good story structure is also part of that. That you just, okay, this happened, and now this should happen, and if it's well written, then it has a flow and it has an order to it. Yeah.
And I think all of what you said is extremely valid, and I really like the first part we were talking about, how you have to be able to really paint that picture for your audience. I think you do an outstanding job. You're, the way you describe words, it's just you're painting that picture, and it's like you're using, like, the words are your brush. I love how you executed that. What are some, I guess, tips and tricks to kind of get that done correctly, would you say, for anyone that's kind of listening and writing their own type of story?
Read a lot and write a lot is the general. Read good books, and also there are creative writing exercises where you just sit down and you describe something. You describe the room you're in. You describe a bowl of fruit, even, like just whatever it is. You could take a picture of someone sailing or someone mountain climbing and describe every aspect of what would be happening in that picture. What does it smell like? What does it sound like? What does it look like? What does it feel like? Can you feel the salt spray in your face if you're sailing, etc.? And then learning to describe that well. Yeah, it's all practice. It's all practice.
No, absolutely. For everyone that's watching, we have the link right in chat. That's the JL's website right there. You're able to buy the book straight from the website, right? Or is that just on Amazon?
You can click onto my homepage and find it. I think it's under the heading My Books. You can click through there, or you can just go straight to Amazon and click in or write in Guardian Into the Light of Day, and it will pop up. Or if you visit my Twitter page, it's there pinned to the top, and it's also in my description.
So when people read your book, what type of feeling are you hoping that, you know, they walk away after they read it, that they feel? You know, what type of feeling are you hoping that you inspire to them with this book?
Guardian is aspirational, just like Superman or Wonder Woman. So a feeling of hope, a feeling of just that feeling of when you have a happy ending. Spoiler alert. Yeah. I didn't write an anti-hero here. I wrote a character that's bright and uplifting. So if that's your bag, if you want a happy ending, then pick it up and have a look. Yeah, that's what I was going for. I wanted a character that was inspiring, that was good-hearted, that you could feel good about reading. Yeah.
I really loved how compassionate she was too. You know. Or even early on in the few, you know, the beginning pages, she had a knack for taking care of children that were in need and being almost like a mother-like figure to them. And I really appreciated just how compassionate this character was to those like in need. It was really awesome to read.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a pediatrician, and part of what inspired the very early scene was a scene that she actually described to me. She has a big heart, and I kind of robbed and duplicated part of her experience as a doctor in that setting. Yeah, in a refugee camp full with a lot of orphans. Yeah, she knows what it's like to be alone in the world. And at the very beginning, in the prologue, we see her rescue one baby, one child whose mother died in childbirth. It just goes forward from there. She has a big heart.
And I really like, you know, so typically a superhero's like suit is a costume. It's made. Elizabeth has like an organic type of suit. It was. Can you give us a little bit more about that? I really thought it was unique, and I liked how it was. You know how you did it.
Well, there's always the question of how does Superman keep his boots inside his shoes? Right? If he has his quick change in the phone booth or wherever he happens to be. Well, I solved the problem of quick change with giving her an organic life form that she can communicate with telepathically to change into whatever she can imagine. So if she wants an evening gown, it's an evening gown. If she wants surgical scrubs and a white coat for her medical practice, then it becomes that. And circumstances demand in the novel, it certainly becomes a superhero suit for her too. Yeah, it was a gift from her mother at the very beginning of the book. Yeah.
No, I really liked it too, because especially in certain parts, you know, especially when she should be battle damaged, it's able to kind of effectively make it look like it's dry cleaned on a moment's notice. Is there any like weaknesses to this suit or anything that readers can discover later on?
Yes, they can discover it later on. I'm not going to spoil anything along those lines.
We've already spoiled enough, guys. So I know you said you had some novellas in the works. How ultimately, I guess, how long do you expect Guardian to be? Like, how many books or novellas do you plan on seeing with the series?
Well, I'm going to try for at least 6, if not 10. I'm also writing occult detective stories on the side too, but they're in very rough form right now. So yeah, I've got a few irons in the fire. I've got Guardian superhero, and I've also got a couple of occult detectives that are wandering their way through the Midwest and the Northeast of the United States. So
that was actually my next question. So you took the words right from my mouth. I was going to ask if there's any projects outside of Guardian you were working on.
Yeah. So those 2 occult detectives, they're still being formed in character in my mind, but and I'm scribbling down notes as they talk to me. But for right now, Guardian's on the front burner, and those 2 are on the back burner. Yeah.
So how long does a book typically take, or a novella or novel take to, like, from start to finish? After, I guess, because the writing process is the biggest variable there, but after you've like finished your script and it's ready to be, like, I guess, printed and everything, how long does that process take?
Once it's in, whether you've got it in a PDF or Word or some other program, it just depends on who you're working with. There are several different companies that can publish you. With Amazon, the book was uploaded in less than 10 minutes. So once I had all the cover and everything set up, yeah, it was just a matter of
wow, that's really fast.
Yeah, that's the easy part. That's probably the easiest part of it all, was just uploading it. And there's a company called Draft to Digital that will put all of your ebooks on every available platform.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not with them simply because you can read Guardian with Kindle Unlimited. Kindle Unlimited is a program where you pay a monthly fee to Amazon. I think it's $8 or $9, and you can read as many books as you like in electronic form. And the author gets a penny every 2 pages read. So, yeah, when you upload with Amazon, if you want to do Kindle Unlimited, you can't upload your electronic version to any other.
Okay,
service.
I got it. So it's almost like a catch-22. It sounds like it's nice getting paid every 2 pages, but then you also have to deal with not being able to put it on other sites.
At least electronically. Yeah.
So, I mean, is that like a no-brainer with writers, or is that kind of like a hard choice to make? Like, because I've never, I guess, really explored this side of the writing community, so it's definitely a new aspect for me.
For now, you have to keep your book on Kindle Unlimited for at least 3 months in order to take advantage of the service. I could pull it off and put it onto Draft to Digital, and it would still be available on Amazon in ebook form. It just would not be in Kindle Unlimited form, where you can kind of check out a book.
So is Kindle like a big seller?
Kindle, well, there's Kindle and there's Kindle Unlimited. Kindle is the electronic books, so you buy the whole book at once. For my book, it's $4.99, which I priced it like a pricier coffee with the tip.
Yeah.
Or the price of a comic book these days.
Yeah.
Or if you do Kindle Unlimited, then it's you can read a few pages, and if you like it, then you keep reading. And we who publish that way get paid for every we get paid a half penny for every page you read. But that's how that works. My book is also available in hardcover and softcover on Amazon, as well as a company called Ingram Spark. Ingram Spark is where libraries and bookstores go to buy at wholesale rates. So I get a couple of bucks for every book they buy. But that's how we sell into independents. I'm an independent. I don't have a publisher. So that's how I sell into bookstores and libraries, is through Ingram Spark. Yeah.
So now that we got like where you could sell and how to sell, how do you go about marketing? What's the biggest things for you in terms of marketing your novel and novellas out there?
One of the things is to do interviews with folks like you, Cody. But one piece of advice I would give to any writer who's starting out: get your get your reviews done first. Go to places like Booksprout, or I'm trying to think of others that will provide you with a professional or even an amateur reviewer will pick your book up and give it a read. And if you've got a good quality product, then they will give you a good review on Amazon. I'm trying to think of one of the other ones I've used here is, let me grab it here quickly.
Oh, you're fine.
Reader's Choice is another one that I worked with. They provide another writer, in that case, will pick up your book, read it, and provide a short review for you. And once you've got at least 5, if 15 is better reviews, then I would suggest start marketing then. So working with Amazon ads, working with Facebook ads, working with Twitter ads, or even hiring a professional ad company. That you see them if you're on Twitter, and you do see various promoters promoting a book. But yeah, get those reviews first. That social proof is critical for sales. I did it the opposite way. I started advertising, and it was slow going before I had enough reviews to really be started taken seriously.
So is like 5 like the magic number for the algorithm too, or?
It's the bare bones. It's the absolute bare bones. Yeah. 15 is really where you want to start. There's a myth out there that if you have 50, then Amazon's algorithm will kick in and promote you in their magazine, but that's been debunked. Yeah.
So I guess what are some of the ways? I mean, we've talked about different sites you can go to, but like organically, like what are some of the things and tips and tricks that you found to work to get someone to leave you a review? Like whether it's like a catchy tweet or some sort of social media post, like what are you doing that's working?
I ask point blank. In fact, at the back of the book, I ask if you've enjoyed the book, please leave a review. That is the lifeblood for authors, especially independents. Even if you just leave a rating of whatever stars you think it's worth, hopefully 4 or 5 out of 5. And even if you just write, I like the book, that's gold. That's gold to an independent. It actually kicks our ratings up in terms of rankings on Amazon. So my book has yo-yoed from anywhere from 49th place all the way up to 1500th place. So
wow.
When the reviews come in and the sales are going, then you advance. And if your ad campaign is lagged, I had about a 3-week period where my ad campaign would just switched off on me, and I wasn't aware. And like, why are my sales going down? And why are my rankings going down? And then I figured it out. So yeah, to work with Amazon to find out what went wrong there. Yeah. So
no, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. Well, JL, this has been such an awesome talk. It's my very first interview breaking down like a novel or any sort of novella this in depthly and learning a little bit of the tricks of the trade. So I really appreciate you coming on here, breaking down Guardian into the light of day and everything else in between. For anyone watching, here is the link to JL's website once again, and you can actually check out this book on Amazon. And if you read it, be sure to leave a 5-star rating and a comment. Those, I never knew how important those were. What type of reviews do writers look for? Like what are the best ones? Like, leaving comments about the story or characters. Like, which ones do you guys strive to get the most?
Well, if I've gotten some very good reviews, and if there's something specific about the story that you liked or the character that you liked, please include it. That way, someone who may not know about the book and just reads the reviews, oh, this is a great book because this character, I've had the character described in other superhero terms. I've had it described as far as her traits, and I've also had it described in terms of the action and the cinematic battles and all of that sort of thing. So
I will say, I will say that, my experience reading, I read about 10% of it, roughly. I would say, I really love how she's a superhero, but it's not thrown in your face. And when she's called to act, it's like one of those things where she's extremely hesitant because she's kept it hidden for so long. So I love that internal turmoil that she had to fight through. But do I jump in the air in front of all these people right now and give away my cover? I loved how you did that. This is a good story, and we have Guardian Andrew over on Twitch saying, I'll peep it. It does sound great. Absolutely. Anyone who's watching, even if you're unable to buy this, share that link on your social media platforms, because you might have a friend or family member who would be interested in this book, and you never know until you share it. JL, once again, thank you so much for coming on. I do have one last question for you, because as much as this is a podcast where we promote you and your book, it is a nice learning tool for anyone who's new in the industry that's watching. So I guess let's change it up a little bit. For anyone who is, I guess, having trouble starting a script or starting, any sort of, writing process for their book or their comic, what type of advice would you offer them to help them get through that barrier?
Start piling the sand in the sandbox. You're going to make a sandcastle eventually. Just start piling the sand into the sandbox. Turn on the faucet, and nothing happens until you turn that faucet on. So just start writing. Yeah, it's a process, and if you can't correct or edit a blank page, you have to have something on it. So just start writing, keep reading, keep studying the craft, and practice. Eventually, if you really want to do this, it's like having homework every day with no teacher to look over your shoulder and tell you that to get it done, there's a lot of discipline, but if you can do it, if you really want to tell that story, then go for it. It's a lot of fun to create.
Self-discipline is like one of the hardest things too, but if you can conquer that, you can pretty much conquer the world, in my opinion. And with that being said, guys, it is time for us to conquer the rest of the night. This has been a fantastic interview with JL Meredith, breaking down Guardian into the light of day. Appreciate everyone that's came and hung out with us. This has been a fantastic Tuesday. Stay tuned though, tomorrow is New Comic Book Day, and even though this isn't a comic, it is a new book, so be sure to pick it up if you are interested over on Amazon or his website right there in the comments.